What's up, everybody? My name's Jeff, and we're back in my sad, sorry-ass garage to work on the truck. The reason we're working on the truck this time is because I'm selling it. It's time to go. But before it goes, it's time to fix an oil leak, and I brought my friend Rick Radcliffe in. Hi, Rick.
Hey, Jeff.
Rick has helped me fix this truck in the past. He's helped me fix my old Civic EM1, which some of you probably have never even seen on this channel. And he's here not to help, because I've learned a bit since owning this truck.
Self-sufficient.
You're here to supervise. Well, sort of supervise, because you have shit to do and then you're coming back to see how much we fucked up. But basically, I believe the source of the oil leak on this truck happened after we did all that stuff for those cool Valvoline videos. And when I put the timing cover back on, I don't think it's sealed properly, and I've come to find out that the Ford FE engine could be prone to leaking at the timing cover. And with me doing the work, it definitely...
Well, I seem to remember it was very early in the morning when you were doing that work too.
Yeah, it was... that sucked. So
many hours of no sleep.
Many hours of no sleep on that rust job. So now we're here to address that, find out what is going on, and hopefully fix the leak so I can move this truck on. Ah, ha ha! Fuck you. So I know before you have to go and do whatever you have to do, I should disconnect the battery before I get started. I feel like I've always done this wrong. You take the positive off, people say you're supposed to take the negative off, then you take the negative off, you have some people saying, why don't you take the positive off? What is it?
So in this situation, the first thing that you want to do is use the clues that are left for you, like the sticker right here that says disconnect the negative. But you also have to be conscious of what job you're doing. Because you're going to be removing the alternator in this situation, we want to make sure anytime that positive battery cable would come in contact with a metal surface, which would be ground, you could get a spark. Your battery probably not as critical, but a regular lead acid battery gives off hydrogen. That spark could cause a fire. If nothing else, it could cause the battery cable to weld itself to the piece of sheet metal. Just bad things happen. So when in doubt, pretty much whenever you open the hood, if you're going to do some work, disconnect the battery. Start with your negative cable, and if you're going to do anything like starter or alternator where the positive terminal is running, then doesn't hurt anything to take the positive terminal off also.
All right, there you go. We'll take them both off because we will be messing with the alternator. All right, well, before we're getting our hands dirty, and normally I'm a big baby in here and I wear gloves, and there's two schools like, oh yeah, wear gloves. Other people are like, gloves are for whatever. I'm trying this stuff out. Autofocus, I don't know if it's working. PR88. I've heard some people talk about this stuff. People swear by it. You put it on your hands before you start doing wrenching. You don't wear gloves. Your hands get dirty, and then when you go upstairs to wash off your hands, you just do it normally, and it takes everything right off. So we're gonna test this out too. I gotta put this on my hands, wait a minute, and then get to work. So let's see what happens. All right, first step in diving into this timing cover fix is actually draining the coolant, which is not very exciting, but we gotta get all the coolant out of the car. Plus we have the truck parked at a little bit of an angle so that as much of the coolant comes off the front of the engine as possible, but then if there's any coolant hiding in there, because this is a large motor and there will be hiding coolant, it'll be tilted towards the back and it won't slosh forward over everything that we're doing. So I'm gonna get started on draining the coolant. You know what? Good tip here. I should have glasses on. Super cool glasses on. Wow. Alright, well, this is a bigger mess than I thought it would be. This is the comedy portion of the shit show that is my life. I haven't even cracked the top. Oh, wait, did Rick already crack the top? Yeah. That really sucks. Alright, while the coolant is draining, I'm going to explain what we need to do to get to the timing cover. Basically, we're going to have to take the upper and lower radiator hoses off. We're going to have to remove the harmonic balancer and the crank pulley and the alternator bracketry, which is custom because that's a different alternator that we swapped in there eventually. We're going to have to take the fuel pump out. And then once we get to that, we should be good. There are probably a few other things I'm missing in there, but we'll get basically everything in front of the timing cover. We have to get it off to access the timing cover. And good rule of thumb, when you pull a radiator hose off, take something that you can easily see and mark which end goes to engine and which end goes to radiator, so that when you're down there, you're not guessing. I mean, you might be able to tell just by looking at it, but on some engines, it's harder. So it helps when you have something that writes which this doesn't. But I'll get something that writes. I'm going to write an E and an R. So that's a water pump removed. You can see it right there. It's cool that when you dive into these and start looking at pieces, you learn what these pieces look like, what these pieces do, and as you gain more access to the engine, it all starts to make a little bit more sense. After I'm done talking, Josh will grab this B-roll, but you can see where the coolant flows on either side of the timing cover, and I'm going to have to re-gasket those because we pulled the old gaskets off. I'm going to have to clean that space, and then I got to get this the pulley for the end of the crank off, which I'm going to have to use the same thing you would use to pull a steering wheel, basically. We'll show you how that's done when we get to that, but for now, at least we're finally making some progress. All right, so it's taken me a little longer to get here than I thought, but once we got past a few hurdles, we're moving along. It's now yummy. It's now yummy. It's now time to take the timing cover off. So let's take the timing cover off. This isn't going to go smoothly. Yep. I am going to need to find a way to break the seal, basically. And I'm thinking one of the best ways is to whack this with a screwdriver and a hammer. Now, I don't know if that's right, but it's metal, so it should be fine. It worked. Hitting it with the hammer worked. I can see the timing chain. Okay, so this is where we have to be real careful because the oil pan is now exposed. So this is the inside of the timing cover. That seal is still fresh, so I am not going to change that because we just changed that when we did all the cam work. But all this gasketing around the side, I got to get it off there, I got to get it off here, and we're going to try again. I really think, though, the leak was coming from the bottom bolts where the timing cover meets the pan, and we're going to use a lot of the right stuff, it's literally called the right stuff, to get this taken care of. I'm going to set this aside. Basically, you got to get all this old shit off before you put the new shit on. So this just means scraping, and then what you do after that, you go in with some isopropyl alcohol, spray it down, wipe it off. You'll be amazed what that alcohol takes off. But for now, you got to start off with the blade. Yeah, just attack the gasket. We've got things mostly clean. This is the gasket that goes, the timing cover sits here, the gasket, engine. The part I'm worried about is below it where the timing cover touches the oil pan. And that's where we're going to use this stuff. And I was like, let's just spray a shitload of it and steal the crap out of it. But
if you put a lot in there, where does it wind up?
In the oil pan.
And then where does it go?
In the engine.
And then what happens?
It goes bye-bye.
You walk.
So you have to use this correctly. But using this correctly will create a great seal. And it isn't something to be afraid of. Just be smart. Dropped a bolt into the coolant holder. Alright. It's a day later. I'm very sweaty, very dirty, but that thing is back together. Tomorrow, I'm going to put coolant in it and oil in it. That's it. That's all I have to do. But I'm just going to let it sit tonight because I don't feel like doing anymore, and I'm not going to fire it up tonight because it's way too loud. My neighbors will get pissed. So let's see what happens tomorrow. But I'm going to show you it's all buttoned up. Let's take a little turn around camera. See, I can roll on some f-stop there. So it's all back together. It's all back together. Thanks to the help of water and beer and a hammer and some other things. I also got to put the battery terminals back on, but that can wait for tomorrow too. and we'll just let this sit. I got this light though today, which I love because it's super magnetic. You can just kind of throw it anywhere. It sticks to the back of the fans. This thing, whoop, in your face. This thing is dope. It was just at Home Depot for like $9. One of those impulse buys where you spend way too much money. So, we'll start it up tomorrow. I don't know what this was. I apologize. All right, here in the garage the next day, and let's turn around. This truck's not in here. It's out there. I just took it for a spin after putting coolant in it, and the coolant is holding, which is good, and I expected the coolant to hold, but it's not leaking oil. I just drove it around 5-10 minutes, and normally after I would do that, I'd come back and it'd be spitting oil in random drops on the ground because the front of that timing cover was slinging oil back on the bottom of the engine so that when I would stop, it kind of seemed to drop from all over. Now, looks dry under there. Let's walk out and take a look. Let's see, what's the shutter speed? I can't see. So all that old oil is from when I used to park my truck here. There is no new oil, which means I think we're in the clear. Used to drip right off there, and now it doesn't. So, still looks good. Still looks clean. Looks clean. I think we're golden. All right. So, holding the camera weird there. So, with that job done, taking longer than someone who knows what they're doing, I bet someone like the humble mechanic could have knocked that thing out in like 2 hours. But I'm not him. I'm me, like Lil Wayne would say, which I don't know why I said that. But yeah, truck's going up for sale now. Actually, it's kind of already sold, pending fixing that oil leak. So the next video is probably going to be a goodbye video to the truck. I don't know why I keep doing weird hand things. Whatever. Bye. What's everybody? Let's try that again. What's up, everybody?
So for our viewers, if you don't do the job right the first time, we'll do it again.
So Rick is back now, and he said I was killing him, so he took over, which is great, really. Because I'm gonna have some more of this beer.